Hello! Hi everyone, welcome to the DIY panel. Let me know if you can hear me, if the sound is good. It looks good. Music's a little quiet. Alright. Hi! Hello, hello. Alright. So some of you have the kits that I was selling, purchased and ready to go. I want to remind you to plug in your... thank you. Hi, Vivi. Why is it showing up twice? Shit. Fixed it. Okay. Sorry about that. Thanks, Vivi. So, and yes, that was Yoshi P, Final Fantasy 14 represent. Yay. Anyway, make sure you have your glue guns plugged in because we're going to be using them relatively quickly. The glue gun is being used to put the yarn onto the actual headband and to add the decorations. But we might not get to the decorations. I want you to know that if you are following along, we might not finish the whole thing here, but conceptually you'll get the information you need to finish it on your own, because we'll definitely work on a wing, and then I'll show you how to do the headband, and I'll show you how to attach a wing, and if we have time we'll make the second wing. So have your glue gun plugged in. Make sure it's a low temp one as well, because there's a tendency to handle the glue when you're well, you can see some of it already on here, but when you're doing the corner, or not the corner, the edge, you may touch the glue. So just heads up, be careful. Use a low temp if you have it. So those of you who got the kits should have gotten the yarn, should have gotten the headband. This is what it looks like to start off with. If you got black, I got you these. These are just the canvas grid for cross stitching. If you got another color, I gave you white. For purposes to be able to see what the heck is going on, I'm going to use black on white, so you'll be able to see when I miss something or if there's any holes and how I go around and figure it out and fill it out. So what you need to know when you start off, first off, before I even get into this, here's my little... So you guys should have gotten this threader, this needle, and this guy, which is actually for dental floss, but I prefer it over this. We're gonna quickly go over how to thread the needle, just in case you weren't around for the star thing or you've never done this before. As far as length is concerned, it really doesn't matter. It's basically whatever you are most comfortable using. I usually measure my arm length from here to my chest, and that's what I cut. This one's a little longer. I'm just gonna keep it that way. It really doesn't matter. All of this is really based on your comfort, and a lot of it is just kind of going on the fly, because sometimes if you cut it a certain way, the shape, you might have to do some different things. Oh yes, the kits are available right now on Etsy. So threading the needle. This is the way to do it with this guy. You put it through the hole, the little metal part. You stick the... If I don't have thumbs for fingers, this will work. But I drank coffee right before this, and that was probably a bad idea. It basically goes through that hole of the threader there, then you pull it through, and voila. And just to go over why I like this one's easier with weirder, lumpier yarn. This yarn is actually really hard to find these days. Unless it's pastel, then it's baby yarn, the fuzzy yarn. But the black is a little hard to find. Anyway, you would just thread it through this guy and pulling it through the hole, and you got it. Now you will have a tail. I have at times done this where I double up. This time I'm not going to. I'm just gonna have the tail just hanging out. But you can double up if you so choose. It just gets a little harder to get the consistency of the thickness when you're doing the middle. So I would recommend just doing this. This is just much easier. You have the little tail. Okay, so let's get started, because let's just jump right into it. This is going to take us a while. Let me get this out of the way so you can visually see. So I always start, most importantly, basically you want to get the canvas to not show. The only place that will show is this area right here, because this area, approximately like so, is going to be what you use to attach it to the headband. And you'll see later what I mean by that. So, do I have one? Yeah. This is like a finished one. This is what it's gonna look like when it's finished. So, what I start out with, I start in the corner over here, and I basically just go on the outside holes, and I just try to do a border first. So what I do is pull the yarn completely through. I leave the tail, and I hold on to it, and I just hold on to it with my hands. We're gonna hide it later or trim it later. Yeah, yarns, yes, the yarns do have supply issues. Borders are a flashback to the stars, yep. The same concept goes. I'm going to border in some places twice, in some places once. It gets funky when you do the corners, and you'll see what I do. A lot of it is just you do what you think is best to get an even look. And what I do when I thread this, I go this way. You can go this way if this is more comfortable, like through the top down. I go from bottom up, if that's like the correct term that I'm looking for. And I just pull it, so I still have the little tail because I've been holding it with my hands. Now it's like it doesn't matter. It can just hang out right there. And I go ahead and do the border. So I basically do pick the holes, whichever ones are the closest to the edge. If you have ones that are not English. Hi, cat. If you have ones like this, where it's clearly like it's been cut into, obviously you can't put it through that hole, but you can go over it. Basically the yarn will wrap over it. Do you want to come up, cat? Where did you go? Cat has shown up, yay! Oh, Jesus. Cat has failed at jumping. Hello, it's a cat. Ugh. Looks like I can turn the cat cam on, because she's here. Stepping on my stuff. Hello, it's a cat. So, she will likely... Well, maybe she'll be good and actually sit down. You gonna lay down, though? Anyway. Let me know. This is, if you have any questions, this is open to... I have some examples halfway done, so if you come across any errors, I can show you exactly what to do. My English is just not existing in the world today. I'm not very good with words today. I apologize. Thank you for the follow! So as you can see, we've got a border forming. I do have some instances where like you can see the canvas that I'll go over when I do a second round and I go through like these holes. Did everybody, anyone who's following along, did you have any issues threading the needle at all? Because I know we had questions during the star time. Star panel, there we go, the fuzzy star. Words. I drank coffee and it muddled my brain. Awesome. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. This is kind of tedious, honestly. Doing the border. It gets fun when you start doing the middle because you can just do, you can go so many different ways. Wah, that was, okay, that held. That was kind of a not very stable hole. Alright. I might go ahead, since we all got the border down, the border concept down, I'll show you what I do often when I get to the tip. I go ahead and, so I don't have to deal with it later, I end up just filling it out. And again, it's very much because of the fuzzy yarn, you won't necessarily see very distinct lines of the yarn. Hello, cat. Hi. Yes, hi. Oh gosh. Cat paw. Oh no. You won't see very distinct lines of the... Oh my god, cat, why? Come over here. Come over here. Whenever she hears me talk. You know how in knit clothing or crocheted clothing you can see where the yarn is going directionally? With the fuzzy yarn, the advantage to it is that you don't necessarily easily anyway. So you can kind of just zigzag, go over spots, just back and forth. Alright, so I've gotten to the corner. I went through the hole once? Once, yes. I've gone through the hole once. I'm gonna go through it two more times for a total of 3 times. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to fill it out so you can't see the canvas. Actually, correction, I'm gonna go through it 4 times. It's really dependent on, with the black, you might be able to get away with not having to do 4 times, but there you go. With some yarns, you can't do it that often either because it might be too bulky and you might not be able to fit it. I have in instances accidentally pulled it through where I break the square, I break the canvas. That's not actually horrible because you can go through any of the holes, one hole next to the edge one, and use that to wrap around. Anyone have any questions on the whole wrapping concept? And now you see me going and doing the border a little bit more. I'm gonna do a few holes on the edge and then show you what I do with the corner. Kitty ran away. It's okay. She's like, if I can't be in your face, on your desk, in front of you, I'm not gonna be here. Alright, so I'm gonna go back. The trick when you go back, or when you're filling in the middle, is not to jump too many holes. You want to keep your stitches short because that'll keep it from making it look like you have distinct lines of yarn, so it still will feel like it has a fuzzy random effect. So I'm gonna jump over like 2 holes and I'm just gonna make straight stitches. Whoops. And I'm not gonna do that. Make sure you don't do that. Like that. So I'm just going to like now go 2 over here. I'm gonna go and wrap around this way. So you can see I filled it a little bit. I'm gonna wrap around and do it this way again. As long as you keep the bulk consistency, you can really do whatever with these more interesting shapes. I'm going to go I'm gonna move over a hole and go wrap around again over here. Like, I'm gonna go that way. It is open to your interpretation. I did the same just now again, and I'm gonna do the same again. And as you can see, I'm gonna go over here. I'm filling it out a bit already. Then you want to check. An important thing to do is to check both sides, because you can always go back if you end up having holes, but it's just easier if you take care of them, and by holes I mean like where you can see the canvas. It's easier to take care of them while you're actually working on the area, so you don't have to waste yarn. Okay, so I'm gonna do a straight stitch. For lack of a better word, I'm forever gonna call these straight stitches. Another straight stitch from the bottom. Another straight stitch from the top. Just doing the corner, or not the corner, I'm doing the edge. Just filling this out so I don't have to think about it or worry about it later. It's just easier. Checking the other side. It's actually looking good because I went and did straight stitches on one side then the other side in about the same area, so I was able to cover it. This is a good place to check whether or not, like, run your finger over. If you can see, I can see the canvas a little bit. because sometimes you're gonna see the nubbins. Sometimes you can cut them. Like this one, I'll probably actually cut and wrap around. Sometimes you want them there to help you create that shape, to maintain that shape, and you just essentially wrap around it, but you risk it peeking through. Sometimes you can just go ahead and cut it if you have really like fine scissors while you're in there, but I usually just wrap over them. Because with this particular yarn, and with any of the yarns that I sent out, the pink and I believe I sent out purple and multi, this lavender, and then a multi-white, they're not super bulky. So you don't have to worry too much about doubling it up. Anyone have any questions? Let me know. Oh, and if you are at Bay Area Kei's Twitch, I probably will not see your questions. I don't think Twitch has improved that yet, so head over to Liliana Avriel to copy paste your question, or if one of the mods could do that too, if there's any questions over there, because I won't see them. This is fun. Also, maybe I should buy it made already next time. I'll probably, since I'm doing a follow-up panel, well, not panel, I'm doing a follow-up stream, because I do stream on here. I forgot to mention, I stream on here. I usually do UV resin on here, but I did a follow-up for the stars when I did the star panel last time. I'm gonna do like a follow-up just in case anyone has any questions or wants to come by and just watch and chill. And then I'm also gonna do the panel again for Royal Vegas. I'll have the times all posted later. Alright, I am continuing. So yeah, I'll probably make more and put them up online. I have the lavender up right now. I didn't put this black one up yet because I was like, will I wear it? No, I wanted to wear the hat. repping Two Tarts and a Princess, because I have so many Halloween pins from her. What do you do when you're out of yarn? Cut yourself another length. And let me show you. Let me use another guy. Okay, so let's say right here I ran out of length, so I cut a little bit off like that, and I have the end. What you're gonna do is you're gonna wrap around the end eventually, or cut it off once you've wrapped a little bit around the base bit. I just hold on to it and continue from there. Let me actually do that. You thread another strand. So I'm holding this tail. I'm gonna actually start, because this is such an awkward spot. I don't know why I started here. Hang on. Oh, because I started the... Let me do this. I'll just continue. I'll show you from the one that I was just working on. So let's pretend I didn't do that. Okay, so I have a little tail. I'm holding onto the tail, right? Do the same. And I've got the tail. I'm just gonna hold on to that tail as well. That's why I like to work with a little bit longer lengths for this one than I did with the star. Because, as I said, the yarn that I'm using is a lot not as bulky, it doesn't catch as easily as some of those that I was using for the stars, and that way I can actually fill so I don't accidentally end. Because ending a strand in your corners makes it a little difficult, so if you haven't gotten to your corner yet, and you're close to ending, you have like 3 inches or less, end first so you don't have to worry about having a strand or end there. And if you are able to, you can always, when you have an end and you don't want it around, you can stitch it through parallel to the canvas under the yarn stitches, like so, and you can hide it that way. And you can just cut it there because that won't budge. All right, so we're doing good. I can't math right now. I forget what my panel is. I know 90 minutes, so that would be 7. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone. Did I math badly? All right. Remember how I said this one was sticking out a little bit and I want to cut it? I could either wrap around it or cut it. I'm gonna cut it because it's a little on the long side. The way I cut the canvas out, it was just a little annoying. There's my little piece. Throwing that out. Alright. So these corners are the same as this corner, conceptually, where you want to wrap maybe a few times through the same hole around the edge like so, to fill it out, to make sure that none of the canvas shows. When you're working with black and you're working on the black canvas, it makes life a little easier because you can kind of get away with some of it showing. For the longest time I was making these black headbands with white. Or not, this isn't white, they actually have a stark white. So if you ever get white yarn and you want to make white batwing, they have tons of different colors of the canvas. They have really stark white, they have pink, I got the black for this. So again, I am just filling out the border. I like holding the batwing like this, it just makes it a lot, and I'm a righty, obviously. You can just reverse it if you're a lefty. It's just easier for me to hold it this way because I get the most stability without my hand hurting too badly. And then when I need to, I hold it like this. So I'm gonna quickly zoom the border. My tail's too long. There we go. Is anyone dressing up for anything for Halloween? Happy Halloween, by the way. Thank you for the follow. Alright, I see a little bit of canvas showing, so I'm gonna wrap around a few times. I tried, but no. Yeah, this is the extent. You get kitties with pumpkins and ghost earrings that are glowing. I think they're glowing. Yeah, they're glowing. From last year. A witch. Sam from Trick or Treat. Nice. Alright. So once I get to over here, I don't want to go all the way to the end because I do want to leave some of it for attaching, like the one I showed you. Where is it? See, you want to leave some of it available so you could attach it. Put that there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to backtrack and start kind of going further in. Oh no! Thanks! Thanks, guys! I don't know why I get hit by spam, but I do. Note on how I totally missed that, so I'm gonna go and fix that. I am doubling up over here because I'm trying to fill the corner. Again, you can really do it with whichever order you want. The whole idea is to keep consistent thickness to fill in any holes so the canvas doesn't show, and to fill the edges so the canvas doesn't show. And that's basically what you feel comfortable with. The technique for filling is what you need to do. Wearing my pumpkin necklace, awesome! Yay! Alright, I have a little bit more over here. Let me see if I can get over here. Okay, I can. But see how I'm kind of like not necessarily going consistently through the same hole, or this in order, hole next to hole next to hole, because this is a little bit more forgiving in jumping around than those stars were. Alright, so as you can see, I finished a thing. Sweet, thank you. Stretch your hands and hydrate yourself. A reminder. This particular edge, yeah. We're gonna use this edge to attach it to the headband. Like, it's gonna be what oh, that you cannot see that. That hides. It's gonna be what attaches right here to this part. Now, let's see. I need to fill the edge once more here, once more here. So I'm gonna do a double layer of going around at the top. I'm just gonna go ahead and start there because that's where my yarn ended. Let me know if that answered your question, Doki. I'm gonna make this shorter because my lengths of yarn that I left myself are way too long. Okay. So, speaking of hydration, I need to do that. I'm like, oh. Okay, good. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can leave just you can just literally leave that one row and it'll be fine because you'll still be able to go through here and like the second row into the batwing. But for stability reasons, I kind of leave myself like a little bit of an arch of non-filled in space because I'm going to fill that in. Yeah, you can backtrack. You just basically, after I've done this, so I've filled in the corners. I do need to still fill that part in. You can see a little bit of the canvas here. I'm starting a new strand and I'm gonna actually backtrack and do a second over stitch. Like I'm gonna go over the edge again to fill it out. It's gonna be a little bit thicker, but that'll be fixed when I start filling in the middle. So the goal of what I'm doing is to fill in the areas where you can see the canvas on the edge. And I'm going in and slowly also filling in the middle. As you can see, I'm jumping around. Actually, I'm gonna jump around over here. I was jumping too far. I'm doing the one over at the very top. Right, this is a reminder that if you are following along and you have not plugged in your hot glue gun, to do so, because in maybe about 10-15 minutes we'll start the headband part and I'll show you how to do that. You do not need to do the second wing before you do the headband. I will show you why. This is basically in 3 parts. You do the bat wings, you do the headband, and then you attach the bat wings to the headband. But you don't have to make both bat wings to be able to go to step 2. Alright, this is where I'm gonna start. Hang on. No. Take that back. I need to fill this. There's a hole here. Okay. Now we can start. I'm gonna start doing those straight stitches to fill up the inside. Again, remember, your stitches shouldn't be that long. You don't really want to jump like 3 or more of these holes. When you're filling, well, 3 is okay, but that would be the absolute max. And you basically come back on the bottom, from the bottom to the same side that you were at the top. Does that make sense? Did I explain that well? You're basically creating a loop because you're doing a straight stitch in a direction and then you're coming back on the other side to where you had started. And that's the easiest and best way to fill in both the front and the back. And this is where your imagination can run wild in terms of how you're filling it out. My technique changes depending on my mood when I fill these guys out. The idea that you need to keep in mind is that you're wanting to hide any of the tails that you end up with, you want to hide the canvas, and you want it to make it look like it's a fuzzy blanket. And so there's no like very distinct yarn lines. And you can kind of... I'm hoping my lights are bright enough. Oops. And I turned my light off. No! You can kind of see, like, it looks uniform because there are no distinct lines. It looks like it's a shag rug, honestly. Which is good. That's what you want to go for. You want it to look even. You don't want to have any lines crossing. Like even here. There are a few. You can kind of see like that's a line and that's a line, but it's not too crazy. Still looks pretty good, but you can kind of see that I was going kind of this way, then this way, then this way, then this way, zigzagging. Hi, cat. Basically, again, you do what you're most comfortable with. Hold on. Cat problems. Yeah. You do what you're most comfortable with. You do what is easiest to wear your yarn, how much yarn you have, and keep the consistency of the thickness. So I will show you what I'm gonna do with this guy. Hi, cat. So I'm gonna start here. Do a straight stitch there. I'm gonna do another loop around the edge here because it's looking a little on the thin side. When I filled out the border, it's not looking the fullest. There we go. Now it does. Now it feels like I have a consistent thickness. Right? Okay, so I have the tails, and I'm just going to continue holding the tails down. And now I'm just going to do those straight stitches that I was talking about. Going up through the canvas, then down through the canvas. Keeping my stitches relatively short. I'm jumping 3. I would say the 3 is the max on. I keep repeating myself, but I think it's good when you're doing something that's a little bit more dependent on where you're at with your method. Just these reminders are the things you want to keep it consistent. If that makes sense. Words. Alright. So as you can see, slowly filling it out. Checking the other side. It's looking pretty good. You can see a little bit there, so I have to go through and fill that little clear area. Always check the front, then the back. Just keep doing a check. And this is how you get to fill out the middle of a shape. Now this goes for any shape. You want to make bunny ears, you want to make bear ears, you want to make deer antlers. Same concept. You cut out your shape from the canvas. You fill out the border with the same idea, same technique as the stars, where you're going around the edges. And then you fill the middle with stitches. Some people do keep it consistent. One thing to keep in mind, sometimes you start seeing, well, my camera's not picking it up unfortunately, but you do start seeing a line from where you did the around stitches and where you're doing the straight stitches. You can cover that by doing a line that goes parallel to the edge. And if it's a short enough line, it looks like it's just no longer like a distinct line between the two different types of stitches. Yes, the middle is straight stitches. So sometimes I go ahead and just do, I'll show you, I'm doing the top section of the bat wing and I'm just doing 3 squares worth of filling out. Oops. There we go. And I'm just coming back from the back in the same spot that I started. That's a technique that you can do if you want to work in a less chaotic way than what I was starting to do. This is a good way to just do little parts and you'd make little lines of straight stitches. Check the other side though, make sure that you're covering all the canvas. As you can see some of it, if I bend the bat wing, you can sort of, yeah, you can see it's showing a little bit. So to fix that, I'm just gonna like slowly walk my way over to it and just kind of cover it with a stitch. Chaotic stitching is basically the best way to describe this. Same with the bear ears that I make. I just kind of fill where needed and just have the concept of maintaining thickness and maintaining a texture, aka not having obvious lines, and covering the tails and checking from both sides how you're doing. This is getting short, so I'm gonna shorten it even more and throw this out. Alright, I'm gonna do the rest real quickly because we need to start on the headband. Headband gets a little funky, so to start off with. There we go. No, I'm making a knot accidentally. Alright, now I'm working my way to the end, to the, this end. Static electricity is real. It's sticking to my hands. Stitching, just making sure that I cover the canvas. Jumping around a tiny bit. Remember to keep your stitches relatively short so they don't make that distinct line of a stitch. Use the fuzziness to your advantage. Hide your chaotic, messy stitch work with the fuzz. Yeah, it's fun coming from this and now like trying to learn some needle painting, which is just same like stitch idea basically, but you're doing long and short stitches, so the stitches next to each other are longer or shorter, and you're basically using those stitches to paint on the fabric to get this cool, realistic, like sort of gradient look. Going from this. You're welcome. Going from this kind of chaotic stitching to trying to do like logical, put together, symmetrical. Well, I guess needle painting isn't exactly symmetrical. There's some other work that requires some symmetry and evenness. This is a challenge for me, but it's fun. I'm the type of cross stitcher that if you turn it around, it's perfectly vertical in the back. Nice. I try. I have tried, but there are obvious moments. I have a cross stitch that I'm working on. You can tell when I've gone through moments of stress or like mental health issues because it just starts getting chaotic. I do try to not let that happen when I'm doing like the Paradise Rose related stuff, but that ends up taking all my patience energy. I can't. Oh no, the lights. Let's just turn that off because oh god. I see a cat's back in the cat trap. Slipping. Okay, so as you can see, I'm getting towards the end. And then I glue a piece of felt to mount it so no one knows. I'm proud that my embroidery stitches, the back is looking pretty neat. I've learned a technique where you can leave no knots and it's still stable. So that ends up making it look neat because the tails don't get caught up in the rest of the embroidery. Alright. Basically, 2-minute warning to get your glue gun ready. We are gonna do the headbands next. Do not worry if you're not done with the batwing. Don't worry about the second batwing. Now that you know how to do one, you'll know how to do another one. The other one. I am no, not all the way. Nice. Alright, I'm gonna do a little bit more because I don't want that much showing. Again, you have creative license to do what makes you most comfortable in terms of how much you want to leave or how you're stitching. And how chaotic your stitching is, just as long as you've got like a consistent texture and thickness. And I do! I run my hand over it, I can see no canvas. This is probably the first time in a long time that I didn't have to go back and fill anything in the middle. What? Oh, never mind. Yes, I have a spot, so I'll show you how to do that. If you don't want to stitch all the way over to that spot in the smack middle, see where my yarn is? And that's where you can put your needle under all your stitches parallel to the canvas and bring it over so it comes out where you kind of need to fill it on this one side. And that's basically where you stitch and you fill it. Hole no longer. And I'm gonna do the same to finish this. I'm going to bring it back to the end. Ta-da! And I'm actually just gonna... It's snug in there, it won't budge. I'm just gonna cut it right directly against the batwing. And now I have no tails sticking out. You can do that at any time, or you can wrap around the tails. You can handle this roughly and try to see like, oh, is there any tail sticking out or is there anything that you want to like fix? This can handle a lot of manhandling. It's great. Including when you have it on the headband, you can actually like try to adjust it if it ever gets adjusted really weirdly. So, we're gonna do the headband next. What I want you to do, I have guides. I have 2 headbands that I'm ready. I know where I want the bat wings placed. You don't. Or maybe you do. I'm not sure. You could use your old, if you have one of mine, you can use that. If you have another batwing headband from somewhere else, like Daiso, you can use that as a guide. In terms of placement, what I recommend, what's really good idea is to maybe like go to the mirror real quick and put it up and like see where you want it placed, like just try to figure out where you might want it sitting, because maybe you don't want it to sit straight up, or maybe you do want it to sit straight up. Mine end up sitting like, let me actually, like so. The way, at least these particular ones. But they have, some of them have been a little bit higher, some of them have been a little lower. The easiest way to do that is to figure out like where you want it, and then mark the bottom point where this will meet at the headband with a Sharpie. I make it hard for myself and I just try to do it by eye, but this is honestly the more easy way, where I just, like I said, at this point, just make a mark for myself on either side. The idea is, why am I doing that? Is you're gonna end up with this halfway through covering the headband, and this is basically where you end up stopping some of the yarn when you're wrapping, because you're gonna have a strand like this to be able to attach the batwing to the headband. Now obviously we're gonna cover all this too. I have this just here just in case there are any questions at that point, but let's start from scratch and make this easy. So I've got my yarn. You are not going to want to cut a strand of yarn for this. Heads up. You're just going to want to work from your ball of yarn that I gave you or that you have. This is where it gets a little dicey with touching glue, because doing the edges and trying to make sure that they're coated. Thank you! Hello! Trying to make sure that they are coated is, and by coated I mean covered by the yarn, is a little difficult. It requires some finagling. The glue can get in the way of the yarn and it can start looking messy. You can always rip it off and do it again. You can peel the glue off and do it all again. I've had to do that. I might have to do that this time. We'll see. Let's give it a go. All right. Here's my technique that I've learned. You're gonna touch the glue. Warning. You're probably gonna touch the glue. Unless you have nails, you can then use your nails. I have calluses for fingers, so half the time I don't even feel myself when I'm poking the edge of the fingertip with a needle when I'm doing like sashiko stitching. I don't feel that. So, yeah. Well, that's why I can do this pretty easily and messily. Not everyone can do that, but just a heads up. Be really careful. So, we're gonna work really quickly when doing this, and I'll do it several times. I'll show you multiple times on the headbands, and I have more behind me. The idea is you're gonna glue a strand like that to it, and then you're going to be adding a little bit more glue next to this strand, next to this end, on this side, and you're gonna add glue to the back. And depending on how dry it is, how cold it is in your environment, recognize how quickly the glue will dry, cure, harden, whatever you want to call it for hot glue. Because you want to work while the glue is still warm, hot, sticky, tacky, all of the above. And the idea is you're going to do this and then wrap around. And sometimes you might even wrap this way, in this direction. As long as you're wrapping that the strand sticks to the glue and it won't budge, and you'll see, you can move it around and figure, you'll see when you're doing this how it looks. And then you get to a point where you'll be at a point where you're wrapping like so, and this will be covered. So I'm gonna do this 3 times. Let me grab another headband. So this is just to show. If you are following along, I suggest you pause right now and watch this so you can get an idea of how this really funky way of covering goes. So, first off, you need to make sure that your glue stick is actually in the glue gun. Alright, here's my glue gun. So I make myself a line right here. Working quickly. I attach the tail there. There's a little bit of glue showing on either side. I'm going to add glue on one side, add glue happily on the back, like in a ball like that. And now, wrap, wrap, wrap. There's a lot of glue. I'm gonna go this way. I'm gonna go that way. Basically, I think I added a little too much glue. You're basically covering. Now it's getting harder. It's cooling off. As you can see, my strand is right here. Let me know if you can see that, or if you need, I can do it in a, I will do it in a lighter yarn to show you. So my glue has cooled off, and I'm just going to add, now there's a little bit showing, you can see it on screen. I'm gonna add the tiniest bit of glue right here. It's messy. Tuck it like that. Just squeeze it a little bit so it stays there. So now my strand is a little bit more stable. And da-da, I'm at the wrapping stage. So let me do that again, but let me do a different color yarn. There, have a cattail. Let me do the purple, because I'm noticing that the black isn't showing up as well as I was hoping it would. So again, I don't have a cut strand. I have this messy, very messy, slightly on its way out ball of yarn. Because when are craft items ever clean? And I will show you again. Glue line for the tail. Another glue line next to the tail. Glue on the back, not too much, so it doesn't ball up too heavily. And I'm going to start wrapping. Wrapping, wrapping. Gonna go over here. Actually, there's not enough glue right there. I can see that too much of the headband here. Coating that a little bit. Gonna press it gently to make sure it stays. Cool. And now I can wrap. Hey, look at that. Yep. And now you know what? I will show with the purple, the wrapping. I'll just continue on this. Does anybody need me to do this one more time? I will technically do it again when I have to do the other side, and I will do that shortly. I do sometimes, so when I'm wrapping up to my point where I marked, I did not mark on this one, but let me actually do that real quick. I'm using my example. Alright, so, ta-da! When I wrap in one direction. I try to keep it one layer, and sometimes, just sometimes, I use a little bit of glue, just like a small strand, you can see it, to fasten it so it doesn't slide around. Because otherwise, if I don't do that, it'll slide around a little bit. Ah, sorry, I was doing that off screen. I backtrack ever so slightly, just to make sure it's not gonna budge on me too much. I added another. I'll call it anchor glue. And I'm almost at my spot. I'm going to add a little bit of glue at the spot that I had marked. Put the yarn over it. And cut it. So, mind you, I'm cutting it for one side, but when I do the other side, I'm going to actually leave a strand. You don't have to, but it makes life a lot easier. But for the first bit, I will leave the thing. Let me switch back to the black, because this is the one that we're going to attach the wing to. So I will show you, I'm wrapping, leaving some anchor glue. Wrapping. This black, you might need to double layer a tiny bit. Just keep the thickness consistent. You can run your finger over it and you'll feel any like spots where you should have possibly gone over, and you can backtrack. If for some reason something happens to the yarn and you have to start, like say, let me undo this. Oh no! There's a weird knot in my yarn, so now I have this little bit left. Just create a little anchor dot. Fasten the yarn to it. Cut the little tail. Make sure the glue has cooled. Is it a little on the cool side? Yes? Okay. Then basically do the same thing that you did for the edge. For the tip, I mean. You create like a little bit of an anchor line of glue so you can put the tail there. And then I'm gonna do a little bit of glue right where the yarn ends over here. You can see, so I can just make sure that it can stay there and it won't budge and won't create a space on the headband. And that's how you fix any issues if you run into any while wrapping. Alright, so I'm at the mark. Ta-da! Cutting. Made me that anchor dot of glue. Put the yarn there and cut the end off. Now, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, only I'm going to leave a tail this time. So, let's do it. So, again, line of glue for the tail. I seriously should have not drank coffee because I am shaking. Ah! Glue to the neck, or glue next to this line. Glued next to the tail, and glue on the back side, the inner of the headband. Not too much. Just kind of spread it out a little bit. And now wrap around. I need a little bit more glue at the tip for me to make sure that it won't budge. This one might be one that I have to redo. Maybe not. So yeah, this is where I'm like actually touching a little bit of the glue, because I can feel it a little bit through the yarn. If you end up having strands of hot glue around and you're like, I hate this, you can use a hairdryer to make those strands go away. Like the strands are getting caught in my ring. Ah! Or you can cut them off, honestly. Like I have this strand of hot glue and I'm just like, snip, gone. Intricate haircut on your bat wings. Oh my goodness, hang on a second, sorry. The hot glue is being an aggravating boot. Alright, we have 20 minutes left. Doing actually pretty good. We're gonna do this wrap, the second wrap. I'm going back a little bit because it was looking a little on the thin side. This black yarn is a little thinner, so as I said, you might have to go over it twice. Made a little anchor line. Not a big deal if while you're wrapping it dries out. Like this is dried out and there's still a little bit of it left. What it creates is texturally it catches the yarn. Does that make sense? So the yarn won't slide on it. It's acting like rubber soles on shoes. And you want to make sure when you make your little anchor glue lines that they're not too thick, because if you can start feeling them through the edge. And if you ever make an anchor line on the inside, you'll feel it when you're wearing it. It'll feel lumpy. There's my line. So I'm almost there. I'm just gonna wrap to it and then add glue. How's everyone doing? Good? Again, don't worry about not having a bat wing done. Conceptually, you get it now, how to make them. And you can finish them after the panel or at my follow-up. I'll tell you when it is later. This one, I am not cutting the yarn at the headband. I am going to leave myself a tail. How long? I'm going to do that measuring technique again where I'm just like end of my hand, end of my arm to like my chest. I'm going to leave that much. This much. Cut it here. Ta-da! Now, I'm going to want that out of the way. I'm going to do this now. Kind of the same concept as the tip. You're making a little anchor line up to where you ended for the yarn end, like so, the yarn tail. And I'm going to add a little bit more glue at the very end just to make sure it won't slide, that this first wrap will be fastened. Right? Yeah. So now, what I have going on, I have the yarn sticking out, the yarn tail that we just created from this end, and I have this, which is my working yarn, the one from the ball of yarn, and I'm going to just wrap around like so. And I'm basically going to make anchor glue lines every once in a while just to make sure the yarn doesn't slide on the headband when you have it all wrapped. So like here, I'm gonna do a little bit of a line. Alright, and I'm going to be a little speedy with this so we can get to the attaching the wings part. So as you can see, like I've got this. It's a little awkward because I usually like bring it to my chest and I'm like over here being like pwa 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 pwa. As you can see in my, I'm like yeah. There we go. It's a little more awkward because I have to do it in the camera, but that's okay. You can see how if you don't make an anchor line of glue, it just like slides around. Yeah, that's why that's important. You don't have to do many of the anchor lines for glue. You can just make sure it's all tucked. It's no longer loose, and here I'll do the anchor line, so now that whole batch won't budge. Alright, wrap it. wrap, wrap, wrap. Now it's just gonna look really, really crazy. Woo! So fast. No. It only works while it's dangerous. Touch the glue. Alright, I'm gonna do another anchor line here because it just feels like it's a little on the slidey end. Just doing a really, really thin line of glue. Barely pressing the, at least on mine, on my glue gun, I barely press the trigger for the hot glue to come out. Just and drag the tip along the plastic. Alright, so almost there. I'm gonna do another anchor. It was sliding. What? Sorry, cat. I didn't mean to spook you with my scissors. Almost there. Getting there, getting there. I was gripping the headband like it was the last thing I was holding onto in life, and now my thumb is like, owie, owie, owie. Make sure you stretch your hands. Stretch break, water break. Me, I'm just gonna continue wrapping. I'm gonna be a bad influence and not stretch. Let me tell you, working with rings on while doing this, a little difficult, especially large ones. Alright, I added a ball of glue over here because I'm going to wrap until I don't see the headband anymore and make sure that that glue fastened the strand of yarn to the top. So now I have like this very distinct, just like on this side, yarn just sticking out from the headband. So that's, the wrapping's done. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to cut a tail the same length as the other one. And now I have, let me get this stuff out of the way because visually there's a lot going on. Hold on, I need you. And now I have the headband with tails of yarn right where the wings are going to attach to the headband. Alright, so let me show you how to attach a wing. We have 12 minutes, and I think that should be plenty to be able to show you how to do at least one wing. Alright, so I thread that. Static electricity. It's real. It just wants to continue sticking to me. I thread it. I have a tail. I don't double up. It's just easier. And this is pretty intuitive. You basically want to go through each of the holes that's closest to the headband when you put it like this. And what you're doing is trying to get it to secure to the headband. And I do that by going through, what? Not that one. Hang on, because that one was broken. Go through one hole, bring it tight to the headband, and I'm going to go around the headband from the inside. And I'm going to do that for the next hole. Around the headband. Next hole. Around the headband from the inside. Next hole. Keeping this out of the way. Around the headband. So I went through along the entire edge length, and this is what I've got so far. You can see it's floppy, but it is attached because I've been wrapping. I've been going through the batwing like so. Whoop. And then around the headband from the inside. Does that make sense? Can you see this? So, whoop. Just like this kind of wrap, but I'm going through holes of the batwing. And basically at this point, I go one layer of holes inward into the batwing to further fasten it. So I'm just going to do that again. I'm going to go across a hole, and I'm going under. Now I'm at the edge. Wow. Alright, as you can see. But still it's a little floppy. It looks a little blit. What I do to fix that, I don't know if any of you know Girl Scouts and knots. I actually do yarn around here, or I cross like so. I cross wrap sometimes. And I'm not stitching. I'm not using my needle. Not yet anyway. To make it so it wouldn't be floppy, so the weight of the batwing doesn't, you know, flop like so. I'll do the cross. So it's through the hole, as you can see here. I'm gonna wrap around the headband, but I'm gonna come from the bottom of the batwing. I'm gonna wrap around the headband and from the top of the headband. I'm gonna do that one more time. Whoop. And now I'm gonna go through, let's say, the middle of the batwing. And I'm gonna go wrap around again from the bottom and go through the middle of the batwing. How is it feeling? It really depends on how the yarn is, how it feels. How are your stitches? How did the wrapping go? Is there a lot of glue here? Is it catching? Is it still floppy? You basically can do more wraps. You can go around the batwing like so, like this. Or you can do that cross. I like to do a combination. I go around the headband and then I go through and stitch. And I might do that again. Bye, cat! And I'm gonna go on the bottom. I'm gonna go sort of half around the batwing. Bottom, top. So it's feeling more secure. It's feeling less floppy, right? And I'm just gonna keep doing this until I run out of slack. I'm gonna finish with like 3 inches left of the tail. Just gonna go through. You're just trying to secure it to the headband, and you're not using glue. Alright, it's starting to look like it's not, you know, it's flexible up here, it's floppy up here, but it's no longer floppy here. It's actually stable, it's staying on there. You can kind of move it a little bit back and forth, but not really. And that's how you get it stable. Now I have a tail, what do I do with it? Basically wrap along parallel to the headband. Not wrap, sorry. You go under, so say my yarn is right here. I will go under, let's see, under these wraps of the headband to secure it. What? I pulled it out of the needle, but that's okay. And now I have a tail, but it's secured. It's not gonna budge. I cut that tail off, and there you have it. There's one headband, or one wing on the headband. And then you do basically the same thing for the other one. You will attach it the same way. I can do that real fast if you guys want me to, because this actually goes really fast and we have 6 minutes. Now is a good time to ask any questions. Although I will be, if you're in the Discord for Bay Area Kei, you'll see me, I'm Lili on there. You'll see me as one of the mods. And you can send me a message if you have any questions while you're working on this. So I'm flipping it over just to have a little bit of an easier time. When you're attaching the second batwing, you kind of want to make sure that you're still keeping consistent, like it's even on both sides, because sometimes they can get wonky. Oh, do I? I can't math. Hold on. I have it written down. I'm a dork. I'm sorry. Oh no, I closed that tab. Why did I close that tab? Oh well. Please hold. It's on the Grammarier website. You'd think I would know when my own channel ends, but I am so butt-brained lately. I'm a boot. I've been visited by the butt ghost. Go check out Haley's panel if you didn't watch the yokai panel on Area Kei from last night. I am good till 7:15. Yeah, okay, I don't run out of time. We have plenty of time. I can answer a ton of questions right now. If you have any. But which butt ghost? All of them. But the eyeball butt. I can't remember the names, so I can't say very well. I'm gonna just quickly attach. Checking. These feel lower. Does this not feel lower? Nope, it's fine. Another thing you can do while you're making one for yourself is just to be like, okay, does this look great? Does this look even? Yes? Okay, good. Yes. To attach the bows that come in the kit, you just use. So this is what Peeps got. Silly Lili did not grab her pearls, but these are the bows you got, and you just attach a little bit of glue on the back, right in the center, and you just plop it down onto the. I'm gonna use this. I'm just gonna use the back side of this, like that. Just a little bit of the dab of glue, and that often, sometimes if you mess up right here, if it looks kind of off, you can use it to hide the edge right there. Alright, let me quickly yeah, I was a little worried because I was like, oh no, if we do this completely, if I do both of the wings and I'm talking and showing while I'm doing it, it will go to 2 hours, but we only have 90 minutes. So I did one of the wings off camera and one of the wings with you guys. So I am just stabilizing right now. I'm doing back and forth stitches. That's another technique. I'm going and doing the crossing. So as you can see, it's not too bulk, like there's a little bit of bulk right here because of my wrapping, but it's not not gonna show when you're wearing, and it's not too prominent. It's not going to mess with the final look of it. Just the idea is you do want to get them stable so they don't budge too much. And as you can see how they start looking on a head. I actually don't remember where I hid my pearl flatbacks. Probably part with the kits, because I create the kits as they come in. Alright, and just a reminder, I'm just going to do that again because I totally can run it through again. Parallel to the headband, run it under stitches to hide the tail and to secure the tail, and you can cut the excess off like so. And then sometimes you're gonna find your needle getting stuck, where it's like the yarn is just stuck. A life of working with yarn. Getting embroidery scissors or tiny little scissors really helps with this stuff. I have these really sweet scissors that have a curved end that really helps to get really close to the intricate work. That's I got to be able to cut knots, to do that whole no knot technique for embroidery. It makes life so much easier. Alright, and here's your headband. Well, it's not decorated. I'm gonna use I'm just gonna show you. Here's like purple ones that I have, and these are clippies. Just, if ever you get clippies like this, and you kind of want to change out the color of the yarn, or not the yarn, if you ever want to change out the colors of the bows and you have these clippies and you can attach them to your bows, or you have bows like this, totally do it. You can tuck, if you go from top down, you can totally tuck into the yarn as if it's hair and decorate like that, so on the head it looks like this. That's a fun little thing that I found out this year, because I was trying to order more bows, and they came with the clips, and I'm like, okay, what can I do with them? Oh, I can make them removable? What? Haha. Like this. But anyway, let me show you. Let me see if I can quickly find my pearl stuff. Okay. It has been found. That was quick. Yeah, because especially like with the black ones, if you have a pair of white, if you have a pair of black, you have a pair of lavender, you can kind of switch them out. You can do that with the barriers too. I did that. There was one pair of barriers that I was selling. I think it may still be online. I'm not sure. That had that idea where the bows were detachable. I kind of want to start doing that if it's popular. So in your kits, you should have gotten 4 pearls and 2 bows. I'm gonna put these away like that. And hang on, the cat is calling. What? You wanna come back up here? She's an old cat. She doesn't know how to jump well. There you go. All right, so glue gun. I will show you. Tiniest little bit right there. Plopping it there. Tiniest little bit there. Plopping it there. Making sure that they're secure. Well, let the glue dry, just so it doesn't get messy, because if you start moving it, it might start looking a little stringy. She is doing her best. She is. Good cat. Here's a cat. And the way I attach these pearls, I do pick it up with my finger. My fingers are not sticky, they're just sweaty, I guess. I don't know. No, that's not that gross, I promise. If you press into something hard enough, it'll stick to your finger. That's just physics. And do a little dot of glue. No, I'm just the potato. Plop a pearl there. Plop a pearl there. Tiniest tip of glue. I don't know why I said dip. Tiniest little dot of glue. And if you just do a small dot, hi cat, it won't be as messy. Because if you do put this down and you start moving it, the glue will spread and get messy on the yarn. Same with like the star when you're decorating those stars. And yes, a reminder that hairdryer heat can really help with the glue strings. I just have a tendency to just go through and pick them off. Or if it's hard to pick them off, I cut it off a little bit. There's my residue from the hot glue. And there you have it. It's done. Does anyone have any questions or need me to go over anything that I might be able to re-demonstrate? Like anything with the stitching? Water break, everyone. We good? We good? And yeah, just as a reminder, when you're doing the headbands, you will leave one tail or not, sorry, when you do this, you don't leave the tail, then you do the other side and you leave the tail, and then you start from here around, and that's just the easiest thing to do. But if you find a way that you're more comfortable with, go for it. And yeah, have fun. There's a lot of things that you can explore and do with this idea conceptually. And you can make all sorts of cool headbands if you experiment, but this is like the way I've learned to do this sort of thing. And yeah, all it takes is a plastic headband, some yarn, and canvas. Now, obviously, I can't prevent anyone from doing it, but I do want to ask for like this. If you did get the kit and you have this idea, this technique, don't recreate it, please, for sale. But if you're gifting it, do it. If you're making it for yourself, go for it. It's all good. Just please no resale. I will distinctly say when it's totally okay when I get sick and tired of making these, but today is not that day. So please no recreation. I forgot to mention that when I did the stars, but that's okay. No big deal. So I wanted to talk about when I'm gonna do a follow-up panel where I'm just gonna like, I have a lot of these right that are half done. I'm gonna finish them up so I can put some online if you're like, I think this is cool, but I don't want to make it myself because it seems like too much work. I don't blame you. I understand. Here, where's are my next times I'm going to work on these on stream on Twitch on Liliana Avriel on November 5th for like an hour. I can go longer if there's a people show up or need or message me and you're like, I can only show up at 7. I forgot it. M. I can only show up at 7:15. I can totally just contact me. Really anywhere. You can contact me on Etsy messages, Instagram messages, Facebook messages I don't really check. And Discord. You'll see me in the Discord in Bay Area Kei. And then on the 14th, I'm doing a panel with for Royal Vegas at 10:15 p.m. So I'll be doing this all over again and going over this then. And it'll be a pretty chill stream because it's the last stream of the day, so we can kind of like just take our time and actually make both in the same stream. So please visit if you can. Those are my 2 panels. I don't want to end too early, so I'm going to take any other questions. Just finished wrapping the headband so I can turn the hot glue off for now. Yes, definitely do that. Actually, I'm going to do that because it's getting warm in here. Ooh. And when you're in Lolita, that sucks when it gets warm. These things heat the place up real bad. Just make sure. Low heat. Because you might handle the glue when you're doing the corners. Or really anytime. But yeah, hi Dreamloom. So, and now you know how to make these. I can show you. Give me a second. What? These are conceptually the same thing. But it's just a crescent, no, not crescent, a half moon shape. And you can make anything. Alright. We have 6 minutes left. Does anyone have any questions? I'm gonna put that up there. It feels too thin. Should I double wrap? It might make it a little tighter, not by much. If you don't want to risk it, you don't need to. Mine is actually relatively thin compared to the purple. Like in feel, I just did the one. And what color do you have? Black? Because if you just do one layer, it should be enough. You just want to make sure that it looks consistent and it doesn't budge, and you've covered all the headbands, so all you're seeing is black. Yeah, so one is fine. As long as the headband, the plastic headband isn't showing through, you're good. You're golden. But yeah, you can, these headbands are really great. You have a lot of leeway of being able to manipulate them. I really like the supplier I got these from. I have to refine them. I'm sorry I don't have the name for them, but if you message me because you want to make another one, I'll hook you up. But yeah, we have the kits still available in online. I have 8 more available for black. I think I have 1 available for lavender and some other kooky colors if you want. If you want clips like that and you want to get a batwing with this kind of clip instead of like the combo pearl bow, I might be able to hit you up. I might have some supplies to be able to give you that. Just let me know before you order so I can check, or if you're good with whatever. I'm glad you had fun. I'm glad this worked out. Yay! Now I have, let's see, I have so many that are half done. Look at this hot mess. This happens. This is work. Just gets really messy when you're working on stuff. That's life, no matter what field you're working on, often with art. Yeah, have fun crafting. Yay! So next, let me see. Next is Salty Stories to Tell in the Dark Halloween Edition with Emma and Sarah! Woo! And they are going to be on Bay Area Kei. Now, are they running? You wanna start running the ads? No, we can wait 3 minutes until they start, so I can hunt you guys over. I can raid over. Yeah, and if you run into any problems with making it, message me on Discord. I will be on. I'll be on Twitch as well. You can like whisper me because I'll be modding panels and I'll be around for panels. Yeah, I'll try to answer it right away so you can have, if you're trying to make these for tomorrow's tea, you can have them ready to go. I'll even do like maybe a short Twitch stream if I get enough questions and inquiries about it, or we can do a quick video chat on Discord as well where I can walk you through anything. And you should have enough yarn if you did get the kit, but if you run out somehow, please let me know you did and I will send you extra. Because it's, as I said, it's really hard to find yarn that is like this, especially if you have the black, the consistency. You don't want the consistency to change mid-work, so let me know. But you should be okay, because I gave extra. I made sure. I did it twice. I double-checked. So, we'll be doing this again on the 5th, which is, goodness gracious, in 5 days. 6 to 7 p.m. Pacific. I try to make it so Eastern folk weren't too late and people coming off of work could still come for Pacific. And then 14th is Royal Vegas panel, a very chill time where we're gonna make another one. I think I'm gonna make a lighter one, like a pink one, so you can see it a little bit better because I'm recognizing the black isn't showing very well. But yeah, otherwise please give me a follow if you want to see more content on making like the UV resin that is in my shop right now. I often stream while I'm making it. I'm possibly going to do some work in the next 2 weeks. Thank you for the follow. And you'll get a notification when I'm online. And then I also have been playing Genshin and Genshin Impact and Final Fantasy XIV, and I'd like to stream a little bit more of that every once in a while with bonus grooming cat. Truly the star of this show. Alrighty. now we are going to poke over to Bay Area Kei. I just want to make sure that they're online. Not yet. Alright, any last questions? Thank you for coming. Check out bayareakei.org for information about the upcoming events and information about the panels that are still going to go on tonight, because we've got spooky stories. We have... what else do we have? J-Fashion Street Snaps, a conversation, movie night, Halloween trivia, spooky color along with another artist, Thymine. Yay! Thank you so much for coming! I'm gonna check and see if I can raid again. We are trying to raid Bay Area Kei and send all of you back over there. Nope. Okay. I will run ads on here until I can put you guys over there. But if you don't want to be punted, please head over to Bay Area Kei's Twitch. And thank you for coming again. And enjoy Cat Paw. Bye everyone!